Everybody, welcome back to Week 2 in the NFL with Mike and the Feather. It was a pretty crazy Week 1. We just finished it seems like, but it's actually Wednesday when we're recording. I was out of town for a few days, as we mentioned in the last video. So we're back, and we're going to look here on Wednesday at all the current lines for every game all the way through Monday night, as usual. If you enjoy the content we put out, we would appreciate it if you smash that like button like Micah Parsons smashed some quarterbacks this past Sunday. How'd you feel about that?
Felt great. The crowd went nuts.
As advertised, right? Micah Parsons, he had to get a sack the first game, right?
He played like 40% of the snaps, not even, and he literally, to get that sack at the end was like the cherry on top.
Exactly. So, again, too, just because we pick every single game doesn't mean we're betting every single game. The final choice, whether you should or shouldn't bet, relies solely on you. But the Feather has had a good track record, and that's what we try and do each week for you. Give some insight into the upcoming games, and share the results with you in the comments down below each week. So make sure you like and subscribe and check it out. Without further ado, why don't we get into Thursday Night Football, which is just about 24 hours away from recording time. And speaking of the Packers, that's going to be our Thursday night game. That is the Washington Commanders at the Green Bay Packers. Both teams won their first games of the week. And the Packers are 3-point favorites at home. So
this game is going to be exciting. You got Jane Daniels and Jordan Love. Jordan Love played outstanding last week. Josh Jacobs started slow, but he came on strong. The defense is the story, though. The defense, Micah Parsons made this defense so much better, even in the short time he was playing in the limited amount of snaps. The energy that this stadium brought, I wasn't there, but from what I understand, that stadium has never been louder when they introduced him into the stadium. And I'm telling you, I've been there for about 80 home games, introducing Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, and when they introduced him, it went crazy. So the hype is there. They're at home again, which is helpful on a short week. Washington traveling. They're looking good. Terry McLaurin wouldn't look good, so if you're a fantasy football guy and you drafted Terry McLaurin, you're not happy about week 1. But on the flip side, Austin Eckler did pretty well. The rookie running back did pretty well. And the defense looked good. I'm going to give the edge of the Packers at home. It's a short week. That does not help Washington. It helps Green Bay. This stadium is going to be rocking. The energy is there. Parsons will probably play a little bit more. And this offense is looking great. I mean, every receiver is firing on all cylinders. Tucker Kraft looks outstanding. And they just got them paying Christian Watson. They extended his contract. Even though he's out with a knee injury, they believe in him. They extended him a $13 million extension for 2026. So this team, you're looking at the youngest team in the NFL in the Packers and the oldest team in the NFL in the Commanders. Youth is going to win out. Take the Green Bay Packers -3 to win this game and cover. I'm thinking it's going to be somewhere 7 to 10 point victory. Boom.
All right, let's shoot over to Sunday and start off the slate of games at 10 a.m. in the morning with the New England Patriots at the Miami Dolphins. Both teams coming off of a loss in Week 1. Dolphins did not look good. Patriots looked okay. The Dolphins, though, however, are the 1.5 point favorites at home in Miami.
You got the Packers on one end that played about as great as possible, and Miami, who played literally like a high school team that was Division III. I mean, it was ugly. And
I can't wait to hear where you put the Giants then in those comparisons later on.
It's all Tua's fault. I mean, Tua played horribly, and that guy's getting paid so much money, so there's no excuse for it. This game, Patriots, they played an okay game against the Raiders. The Raiders got the best of them. Drake May is looking good. He has a lot of potential. Hunter Henry, who's for all his fantasy guys, he's kind of boring, obviously, but he got it done. Stephon Diggs had a mediocre game. All around, this passing game looks solid. The rookie running back Henderson looks really good, and he's going to be a nice 1-2 punch to Ramondre Stevenson. On the other side of the ball, though, I mean, Achane didn't look that great. He had that saving grace touchdown at the end in garbage time to save his fantasy day, but not the Bengals. They got blown out by Daniel Jones, who literally just dominated the world. I mean, how do you feel as a Giants fan knowing that Daniel Jones dominated?
You know what? I'm on the Jackson Dart bandwagon already, so I'm just waiting for that to happen.
So here we go. Now we got this matchup, Patriots-Dolphins, and Dolphins -1.5 at home. It can't get any worse, like their coach said, and I think that things are going to be looking up after this week. I'm going to give the nod to the Dolphins -1.5. This offense has too much capability. I think Tua gets back on track. I think Achane gets back on track. The Patriots on the road, still learning, still trying to grow. They got that new coach in Vrabel who's trying to right the ship. But Miami at home is going to be the difference. Miami -1.5. They're going to get it done. Dolphins, the fish get the W. Boom.
Give it to the fish. All right, next game up for 10 a.m. on Sunday morning. We have the Jacksonville Jaguars at the Cincinnati Bengals, and I'm checking all of my notes, and it looks like the Bengals won in Week 1 this week.
If you want to call it that, yeah.
Well, a win's a win, right, in the end. W is all that matters. And the Jaguars are already 25% of the way onto their entire record of wins from last year. Both teams coming in at 1-0. Jaguars on the road in Cincinnati. The Bengals are a 3.5-point favorite.
Yeah, the Bengals gave a scare to everybody again last week. They didn't cover the spread. They killed us on that, unfortunately. For all the Circus Survivor people, you survived the Bengals somehow.
Actually, I should say, I wonder in Season 3 when you're going to start the dead to me pile and how soon either Joe Burrow or the Bengals will be in that pile.
Yeah.
They always seem to make it onto your dead to me pile.
I'm hoping not at all this year, hopefully. Hopefully this team is going to do what they can do, and they don't wait till the end of last year like they did and miss the playoffs. Yeah. So Joe Burrow looked like hot garbage, unfortunately, last week. Jamar Chase did nothing because Joe Burrow didn't play well. This team all around didn't play well, but lucky for them, they were playing the Cleveland Browns, and that says it all, okay? So they got it done. Old Bones Flacco did not, ruin the day for them. Tough division battle on the road. Cleveland always has a tough defense. Didn't matter. They got it done. This week, though, the Jaguars, the new look, new coach Jaguars with Travis Hunter, the stud rookie, playing both ways. This week he's going to play a little more defensive corner, so could affect the fantasy people as far as from a wide receiver standpoint.
Good point.
But could help the team overall because it's a lot harder to come by a good corner than it is a wide receiver. Travis Etienne looked great. He was a bright spot last week, and enough so that the Jaguars decided to trade Tank Bigsby away. So that says that they have a lot of faith in him and the young rookie in Jacksonville. Brian Thomas Jr. had a slow start, not a great game. Trevor Lawrence did okay. The Bengals just were Bengling last week. Like they've gotten a slow start the last 3 years, the first 4 weeks or more. And this week, though, no doubt, the Bengals at home against a Jaguars team that's looking pretty good. And I don't think Vegas knows what to do with this. They have a line of 3.5, which is like a confusing line. You would think, okay, that seems a little low. But the Bengals just are a problem team. And that hook, feels ugly. But don't be worried. The Bengals -3.5. They're going to get it done. First take it to the bank pick of the week. Last week was not great in that department. Overall, we did 9-6-1 for a record due to the Chicago Bears dumping on us at the end. Otherwise it would have been a nice 10-5-1. But hey, this week, different story. Bengals get it done. Boom.
All right, you just mentioned Joe Flacco and the Cleveland Browns, and they are on the road at the Baltimore Ravens. This game features the biggest point spread of the week, with the Ravens being 11.5-point favorites. And of course, we'll be discussing both this team and the Bills throughout the podcast with that game from Sunday night. Mm-hmm. But what team would want to face the Ravens right now? Certainly not the Browns, but the Ravens are going to be playing angry. That's my opinion. And Lamar Jackson is probably still having steam come out his ears after that game.
Yeah, and this one, John Harbaugh, another tough loss in the chin. A lot of people question his coaching and play calling.
Let's be fair, though. I want to interrupt and say, if Derrick Henry doesn't fumble that ball, completely different ending. That shifted the whole thing.
It did, but in the end, it comes down to maybe the end-of-game play calling decisions. I feel like they were running at a pretty big clip at a time, and they just made some weird play calls at the tail end there. And some people think they should have went for it on fourth down.
Yeah.
But I disagree. I think in that spot,
you can't give them the field goal right there.
Yeah, no, I feel like you punt, and it's a tough spot. The game was well played. Josh Allen is Josh Allen, and he did what he needed to do. The Bills just didn't get it going. The middle of the game was very stagnant. They started playing Bills football late, Yes, Derrick Henry made a mistake, but this team is talented. They're both, the Bills are going to be there in the end. And in this case, I wouldn't want to be Joe Flacco. I mean, the nice thing is the bright side, Dylan Sampson and some of these guys at the running back position are looking good. Jerry Jeudy's doing all right. Myles Garrett is a machine. The guy's a beast, but his talents are being wasted on Cleveland right now because this team is going nowhere fast. And against Baltimore, who you got, Zay Flowers, who stepped up big. I got him all over the world on my fantasy teams. I'm high in this guy. I think he's going to be huge, and he was huge this past week. Fell short, but fantasy-wise, he won me some games, and he's going to do a lot of good things for the Ravens in the future. And all I can say is the Ravens are going to be angry. Like you said, they're going to be hungry. 11.5 points is a lot in the NFL. I mean, that tells you what Vegas thinks of the Cleveland Browns. But Baltimore at home, no way Cleveland has answers, and they're not going to, stutter, step, mess up like the Bengals did last week. Take the Baltimore Ravens to win this game, covering 11.5. It's a lot of points, but they're going to get it done, no problem. Baltimore Ravens looking to prove who they are. Boom.
Next up, we got the New York Giants at the Dallas Cowboys. Both teams coming off of a loss, one slightly worse than the other. The Giants, though, I like to say, were not the lowest ranked team on NFL.com today when I double checked it. They were actually fourth to last. So sorry about that, Saints and Dolphins, and I can't recall the third team, but you know what? Russell
Carolina
Wilson,
Panthers.
probably the Panthers. Russell Wilson, it's amazing to think. I mean, he's never been the same once he left Seattle. The injuries, the problems in Denver, and now you're already hearing the chance to pull him after one game, but he looked so piss poor. I think, I know months ago they said, no, Jackson Dart is not playing this season. He's riding the bench. And I feel like, unless there's some big change this week in this game, he's starting week 3. But we'll see. But again, Cowboys are 6-point favorites in Dallas.
Yeah, I mean, they're not going to pull him this week. I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. They're committed to him financially, and I think they want to bring Jackson Dart along slowly. So we're going to continue to see Russell Wilson struggle.
Yay.
Good for you, right? I mean, he looked terrible. That's
Come back,
the bottom
Tommy
line.
Cutlets. We need you.
I mean, Malik Neighbors, another guy that's super talented that wasn't able to do a whole lot in that game because of Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
I mean,
he looked lost.
It says it all when the Cowboys are 6-point favorites right now. That's how bad the Giants are. Because the Cowboys to be a 6-point favorite, there's not many teams in this league the Cowboys are going to be 6-point favorites or more.
That's how many points the Giants score the entire game. I mean, it's...
Right? So is this going to be the breakout game for Darius Slayton and the Giants?
I'm waiting. No one knows. That's my secret. I know Darius Slayton one day will be wide receiver 1 in fantasy drafts.
So now let's talk about the other elephant in the room. CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb had a decent game last week, really good game, except for the 4 drops, right? Yeah. So the man still put up good fantasy points and good production from that standpoint. From a game standpoint, he was a bright light with the exception of 4 key drops,
And you can't just blame the extended break at the end because some of those came before that, if I recall. He was just a little bit butterfingers.
Yeah, he dropped. He had 4 drops that he would make almost 100% of the time any other part of it. He's not, I mean, last year he did have a ton of drops. So it's not uncommon, but in his case, he's usually pretty reliable. George Pickens is another guy. The new addition, he, didn't do much. He's going to be more of a down-the-field guy. I watched some of the tape, and George Pickens, one thing about him that Pittsburgh didn't like is his attitude. He was kind of a team disruptor, right? Well, there was a lot of footage of him actually taking plays off. He showed very little effort when it wasn't a play that had to do with him. He ran routes half-ass. He wasn't blocking. So kind of stay tuned to see where that develops down the way. But but if he could kind of get it together and have a 1-2 punch, Javonte Williams at the running back, he had 2 touchdowns. So from a fantasy standpoint, that was a surprise, although he averaged only about 2 yards a carry. So let's just hold on about the running game there. Dak was okay. This Dallas team, where they're going to be hurting this year is defense, right? They don't. The loss of Micah Parsons is huge. Kenny Clark did his thing, clogging up the run, but he's no Micah Parsons at all. He's a 10-year plus vet, and this team is going to probably have its troubles. We'll see. I mean, it's early, but right now The Cowboys, they played an okay game last week. They could have won it late. They didn't. Now they're going up against the Giants. So if you ever want to have a cure for a team, is get to play the Giants, and it's like playing a little practice game. Giants are going to get whipped. Okay, that's all there is to it. Dallas is at home. Jerry Jones is salty. This coach wants to get them on the winning ways. They almost pulled it out last week. This week, Giants take the Cowboys -6 all day long. They're going to take care of business. Giants go 0-2, and the Bluebirds are going to continue to be out in New York. And that's all there is to say. Sorry, Mike. Maybe week 3.
Maybe. All right, midway through Sunday so far. Let's look at the LA Rams at the Tennessee Titans. Rams on the road, 5.5-point favorites. Looked okay. Had to make a little bit of a offensive effort near the end.
Rams had a little sweat going to the end. They pulled it out. Matt Stafford looked okay. Kyren Williams, he's going to be a good running back for them. He's going to continue to do what he does. Puka Nacua, obviously he's the alpha in that team, even with Devonta Adams there. Devonta Adams, hopefully, they did okay. Nothing special about the Rams game. They have one of the best coaches in the league, and they'll find a way to get W's. How many this year, to be determined. But on the other side of the ball, then you got Cam Ward, who had his rookie debut last week in a tough situation against Denver, and they didn't put up much offense, but they took Denver to the end. Denver, which was I believe the top team in Circuit Survivor, and definitely on everyone's bingo card to cover pretty easily. Yeah, that didn't happen.
That did not happen.
They ended up winning by 8, so they covered for us at 7.5 because of the early line, but they did not cover most of the late lines that were 8.5. Calvin Ridley, we're hoping he evolves from a fantasy standpoint. Will he? Will he not? Looked okay. This team's young. I don't have a lot of expectation for the Tennessee Titans this year, but they are at home. They're up against the Rams. 5.5 points, a home dog. Michael, what do you think? I'm thinking home dog. LA team traveling all the way to Tennessee. Old bones, Matt Stafford. I'm liking the Titans here. We're going to go with the Titans plus 5.5. I think the Titans they may lose the game, but I think they're going to cover the 5.5 and stay within the spread. Could there be an upset? If everything aligns perfectly, Cam Ward, they're at home, and they play really solid. Tony Pollard runs the ball. But I think that what's ultimately going to happen is if they do lose, they're going to stay within the 5.5. And simple as that.
Yeah, it's probably going to be a close game.
Yeah, take Tennessee plus 5.5. Too many points at home. Boom.
All right, next up in the morning, we've talked about the game already. We got the Buffalo Bills on the road in a division matchup against the New York Jets. The Jets finally saw what they expected to get from Aaron Rodgers. Unfortunately, he was playing for the Steelers at the time, and he looked good. He had to pull out a win at the end.
Yeah.
As we were just talking recently off camera, Justin Fields.
He looked good.
Should look promising, right?
Yeah.
Which is good for us Garrett Wilson owners in fantasy because. Yeah. That's the big question mark is Garrett Wilson can catch the ball, but can somebody throw it to him? So Bills on the road, 6.5-point favorites. After that game, or the Bills got ahead of steam and they're going to steamroll the whole division?
Yeah, that's a good question, right? Okay, so the Jets. Justin Fields surprised me, surprised a lot of people, I think, last week. He's talented. He has the ability, and maybe he's just another player that played for the Bears and was dying on the vine, He obviously played last year for Pittsburgh and played a little bit there, but that obviously wasn't something that worked out. And now he's a Jet. And here was him and Rodgers playing against each other. They both played good games. Garrett Wilson had good production. DK Metcalf on the other side looked good. Breece Hall actually looked like a potential running back this year. He's another one that people are thinking, is Breece Hall going to be anything in fantasy? And people were skeptical.
Last year was a disappointment.
Because last year people were high on him and he was terrible. So he looked good. All around this Jets team looked good, but I'm still not sure how good Pittsburgh is or isn't. Pittsburgh has some solid players, obviously, and they're obviously T.J. Watt, but I'm not sold on the Jets quite yet. And I definitely going up against a team in the Bills that basically owns the Jets for the most part, for the better part of since Josh Allen's been there. Now, the Bills, that's a whole different story. You got the Bills who came off a really emotional game. A game where, I'm sorry, but Buffalo Bills fans got to be a little bit embarrassed because a lot of those fans left the stadium early.
Yeah.
And they missed an epic comeback that they'll be telling stories as the fans that left the big game. I mean, it wasn't the playoffs at least, but holy cow. I mean, that's unlike Bills fans. I mean, I know Packer fans, they very rarely leave the stadium early, but we're the best fans in the league. So, I mean, I'm a little biased, but okay. But here we go. Josh Allen, Keon Coleman. I believe in this guy. Second year, in the league. He looked good. He's going to be a game changer, I believe. Dalton Kincaid, I think, is going to turn the corner in his second year. James Cook finally got his money, and I think he's going to take a lot of the pressure off of Josh Allen having to do it all. But Josh Allen was once again Houdini. The man is a wizard. He literally won us our fantasy league and for the week, putting up a ton of fantasy points and a fourth quarter like nothing you'll ever see. This team is super talented, but you know what? I'm not sold on McDermott. Their coach, I think right now he's on the hot seat in my mind. I feel like this is a team that is so talented, and is it the coach that's holding them back? I mean, it might be, because at some point, accountability has to be taken. And I think that if the Bills, it's pretty much Super Bowl, or I think he's fired. I think that's where we're at right now with the Bills. But this team has all the intangibles. There's a reason why they're the Super Bowl favorites right now. And I'm telling you right now, the Bills are going to be on track. None of this come from behind stuff. They're going to own the Jets at -6.5. Take the Bills to the bank all day long. Cash in. That's going to be another winner. We're going to get it done. Bills -6.5. Double-digit victory without a doubt. Take it to the bank. Boom.
Pretty crazy. You got a 112 passer rating from that game. 112.
Yeah,
I was just looking up some of the stats. So, all right, yeah. Good luck, Jet fans. We'll join you on the other side of the river if you'd like to come commiserate after week 2 if it doesn't go your way. All right, well, let's head back over to your division, the NFC North, for another division matchup, and basically the battle to stay out of the basement. I think in that division, It is the Chicago Bears on the road taking on the Detroit Lions. Lions 5.5-point favorites, and no team wants to get off to 0-2, but neither of these teams, especially, wanted to, and not in that division.
No. I mean, there's already stats out there. Teams that start 0-2 or 0-3 are way behind the 8 ball in playoffs and stuff like that.
That's for the Bengals somehow.
Except for last year.
Except for last year, that is true. Fact checked.
So now here we go. We got Detroit. I thought that they would be hurt by the fact they lost their defense coordinator and offense coordinator in Ben Johnson, and it proved to be true. They look bad. Their defense wasn't great. Their offense looked very vanilla. Jared Goff looked like the guy that basically the Rams wanted to dump, and why they wanted to dump him. On the other side of the ball, you got Ben Johnson, who left for greener pastures to Chicago, and it's perhaps Caleb Williams might be that bad that he makes Ben Johnson look bad. I mean, Ben Johnson is a talented coach, and they look good. The Bears were firing on all cylinders for about 3 quarters, but then they did Bear-like stuff and completely crapped the bed. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable how the Bears, to be a Bears fan has got to be one of the most frustrating things on planet Earth. I mean,
isn't it kind of though like an oxymoron? But if you all say the Bears still suck, why are you amazed how bad they're doing then?
Right. Amon-Ra St. Brown said, "Hey, you know what? When Ben Johnson comes into the stadium, they're going to be booing him, and they should be booing him because he's the enemy now, right? He's a former coach. They appreciate what he did. Now he's the enemy, and when they strap on the helmet, that's what it is." This game's going to be interesting. I don't have a lot of faith in Caleb Williams. He looked good to start the beginning of the game, but then he started playing how he normally does. His stats are no better than Mitchell Trubisky at this point in his career, which those were dismal as well. Good things the Bears have done. Okay, it feels like Roma Dunze and the receiving core and the young tight ends and that even the running backs are looking okay there. The defense looks pretty solid, and the Bears were short 3 defensive players. Okay, 1 All-Pro going into Minnesota, so that's not ideal. Okay, and I think they lost 1 player later in the game as well, so that needs to be said. But that wasn't the issue on offense in the fourth quarter, and that wasn't the issue in other aspects. To me, this Bears team has a lot of work to do, and I think that They look good to start. Against a rookie quarterback that was playing his first snaps on Monday Night Football and J.J. McCarthy. But when he kind of, got comfortable, we found out what the Bears really were. And until otherwise, it seems like that's going to be the case. Detroit, this is a must-win for them. Dan Campbell at home. One thing about Detroit, they play great at home, no matter what.
Right.
They got their same 1-2 punch at running back. With or without the coordinators, they're still going to get it done against the Chicago Bears at home. Take the Lions -5.5. Easy double-digit victory. Bears just are not going to have what it takes to come into Detroit and get the win. And there's just no way the Lions go 0-2. Lions, 5.5. Boom.
Pay no attention to my mismatched colors on the graphic behind us. I assure you this next matchup is the Seattle Seahawks on the road at the Pittsburgh Steelers. Seahawks lose the first week. Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers pull it through against the Jets, as I mentioned earlier, 1-0. Aaron Rodgers resurgence.
The 4-touchdown Aaron Rodgers.
And we didn't mention about week 1, too, is that we now have players who have gotten hurt quicker than Aaron Rodgers did 2 years ago when on the Eagles, on the kickoff return.
Yep.
Guy goes down, gets carted off, and you get a player ejected. 6 seconds into the game.
Yeah.
That already set us up for what week 1 was going to be. I should have led with that in the very beginning.
Right.
6 seconds in, week 1 was already crazy mess. But anyway, I'm sorry, I'm babbling.
Pittsburgh
you
got Aaron Rodgers getting 4 touchdowns. So as a Jets fan, that's got to be painstaking. Daniel Jones looking like Peyton Manning for the Colts. Being a New York fan is just gotta be brutal.
But let's forget about New York for a second.
So here we go.
Pittsburgh -3.
Aaron Rodgers now at home. Seahawks. Sam Darnold. The jig's up on him. Okay. The bottom line is Sam Darnold had the quarterback whisperer coach in Minnesota and a perfect situation with great receivers, a great offense, majority dome games. And guess what? Now it's playing in Seattle, tough place to play. Fans are very demanding. And Sam Darnold, Cinderella is striking midnight here. And we kind of saw that in the first game. Sam Darnold did nothing. We saw the Sam Darnold of old, like when he was a Jet. But the one good thing is Smith and Jigba look great. Sam Darnold had about 150 yards passing and 124 went to the receiver Smith and Jigba. Now you got Kenneth Walker, who's looking meh. And if you're a fantasy guy, you're kind of worried because you got him and Zach Charbonnet splitting carries and, Charbonnet's pirating touchdowns. So it's good in the world for the Seattle Seahawks to have a 1-2 punch, but from a fantasy standpoint,
that's a killer.
It's very tricky, and people are like, what to do? They're panicking. They're like, I had a buddy, should I dump Kenneth Walker right now and trade him? No, don't panic. Just settle down. It's week 1. Now it's week 2. It'll be okay. But this Seattle team, they're not going to be okay today because the bottom line is Pittsburgh at home -3. They're going to take care of business, okay? They're going to win this game. They're going to win it convincingly. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to have another solid game. I believe that Jalen Warren is a solid running back for them. And this team, DK Metcalf, a good weapon for Aaron Rodgers. I feel like this Steeler team is going to cook, and they're going to go on to be 2-0. Seattle, unfortunately, is going to take another L, go to 0-2. Take the Steelers -3. Boom.
Our last morning game is the San Francisco 49ers coming off a win on the road at the New Orleans Saints, who may possibly not see a win the entire season.
Jesus.
Well, no, but that could be good. They have 5 picks in next year's draft, so that could actually be beneficial. If they get which picks they'll have, we don't know, but top picks would be. It's got to be a good QB coming out, at least better than what they have right now in Rattler.
Yeah, we'll see. Hey, come on, don't bang on Spencer Rattler. The guy's got hope.
Oh, is that a thing I don't know about?
No, he's not.
He has no hope.
I don't. We'll see. He's young. It's just. We'll see. They did draft a quarterback already. What's his name? Tyler.
Oh, and this year? Yeah, that's right. That's right. Well,
so
maybe we need to get him into the rotation.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. It's early. You never know. Last year, the Saints started off like 2-0, and they put up a ton of points, and then they were terrible. This year,
that's right. The first 2 weeks, they had
they looked great.
80-something points combined, and never played that way again.
Yeah, this year, we'll see. So, I mean, in this game, Spencer Rattler, like we were talking about, your receivers are only as good as your quarterback. And Rashid Shaheed, Brandon Cooks, Olave, those guys, we're not eating because Spencer Rattler, has his woes. The Saints at home are a better team. They're going up against the Niners. So if you ever want to, benefit, the key is the Niners are most likely to be without their quarterback as well. So you got
a certain tight end named George Kittle.
Yeah, so go figure. Our fantasy team is in shambles with Kittle on the IR for the next 4 games, which is not good for fantasy owners and not good for the Niners because the Niners are already on thin ice at the wide receiver position. Brandon Ayuk is still gone. They obviously lost Deebo Samuel last year. Jennings, they got good news on him. His injury's not as serious. He's still questionable. Probably will play this week, hopefully. Problem is their lead quarterback now, when Purdy is doubtful and most likely not going to play, is one Mac Jones. So that doesn't bring a lot of confidence in this Niner team. So if the Niners are going to have any chance in the world, their defense is going to have to step up, which, is a good possibility against this Saints team that, Alvin Kamara led. Alvin Kamara is a solid player. I feel like he's one guy that's been dying on the vine the last couple of years due to the fact that quarterback problems and everything else. Upset alert. I did not think that I picked the New Orleans Saints +3 at home against the 49ers, but minus a quarterback, minus a tight end. The Niners were sluggish last week anyway. Saints at home. I just feel like
they'll find a way.
They'll find a way. They're going to find a way to either win this game or it's going to be a push or they're going to cover the spread. But I think the Niners travel to New Orleans and get the loss and are 1-1 due to the fact that their team is just beat up. Christian McCaffrey banged up. He'll be probably banged up all year long. I mean, he's good to go per se, but he's not the Christian McCaffrey old that we've seen so far. Take the Saints in the upset, +3. Boom.
2 early afternoon games. The first one at 1:05 p.m. is the Carolina Panthers at the St. Louis Cardinals. The team has moved from St. Louis to Arizona. I've just been informed. It's actually the Carolina Panthers at the Arizona Cardinals. I'm an old guy. I fall back in old habits. Cardinals -6.5.
Yeah, this game's not exactly a sexy game at all to watch. I mean, Arizona looks pretty good. Carolina, not so much. We don't have much expectation out of Carolina this year. Bryce Young, the experiment continues. Will he step up? I mean, Chuba Hubbard's a solid running back. They drafted a stud wide receiver that, he looked okay last week. This Cardinal team, a guy who stepped up, though, was Marvin Harrison Jr. A lot of people were down on this guy after his rookie year last year. He definitely was underwhelming, to say the least. This week 1, he looked great. James Conner was decent. Kyler Murray looked good all around. Obviously, I think that, as far as it goes, I mean, Trey McBride is living up to his hype at the moment. This game seems pretty easy to me. The Cardinals at home, -6.5. We're not going to talk anymore about it. Bottom line, Cardinals get it done. Like I said, kind of a mundane game. Cardinals get the W, get the cover. Boom.
Broncos at Colts. Broncos on the road, -1.5. Colts with newly resurgence in his career, Danny Dimes at the helm.
I did not think that we were going to say the team that was the most dominant last week was the Indianapolis Colts and Danny Dimes. Unbelievable. But the Colts, who hadn't won a home opener in forever, their stats the last 10 years winning home openers, I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was next to 0. Miami Dolphins, we picked them last week, and they got the brake speed off of them, to say the least. Now here we go. We got the Broncos, who barely escaped last week, in a game against the Titans at home, are going up against the Colts. And the Colts, another thing I would have never thought, the Colts a 1.5-point underdog only against the Broncos. If you were to tell me that before week 1 started, I would have never said the spread would be 1.5. But here we are. The Colts, Danny Dimes looking good. Michael Pittman stepped up. This team, Josh Downs, solid. Jonathan Taylor, he did pretty well for us fantasy-wise. He's a grinder. And this team looks solid. On the flip side, the Broncos, Bo Nix kind of had his sophomore slump week 1. He didn't do much. He killed me fantasy-wise, cost me in our league, the Mike and a Feather fantasy league. He had, I think, 9 points maybe total. So that's not good. But the bigger issue is that the Broncos just kind of looked a little bit flat. Cortland Sutton had some moments, but this team, they got some young talent at running back, and the potential's there. But they did look a little bit sketchy, and now they're going to be traveling to Indy, who's playing pretty well. And like I said, I'm not going to jump to conclusions on either team. I think Denver's better than they looked last week, and I think the Colts maybe are probably worse than they looked last week. But maybe not. We'll find out. Maybe this is like Daniel Dimes' swan song, just like my man in Sam Darnold in Minnesota.
I was thinking too, and I was talking about him with Sam Darnold.
This seems to be pretty easy for me. Many people may disagree, but it does look like a sucker play because it is. Take the Colts plus 1.5. It seems very easy to take Denver in this spot, but take the Colts plus 1.5. They're going to win this one outright at home. Denver's going to have its struggles. The Colts are going to find a way. Colts plus 1.5. Boom.
Just so we never say we don't inform, it was an 11-game season-opening losing streak. And God bless the NFL finding random stats. It was the first team since 1977 to score on every single possession in their season opener. That's so random.
That is a random stat.
The afternoon game starting at 1:25 p.m. will feature the Philadelphia Eagles and the Kansas City Chiefs. Chiefs at home, Eagles on the road. It's a 1-point game, so basically a pick'em. And Chiefs fell in week 1. I wouldn't say decisively, but they fell pretty hard.
Yeah, I mean, they were flat. I mean, that game really wasn't.
Could say it was because it was overseas. Could say the odd time. Could say, were you really the home team, even though there was controversy about whose name was in the end zone and all that. And, it just, you'll find a million reasons. Could be that Travis Kelce is just enamored in planning China patterns
I'm
instead.
sure Chiefs fan nation's going to say, oh, it's because Xavier Worthy went out and this and that and blah, blah, blah. But in the end, the Chiefs look flat. And if it wasn't for a couple blown coverages where Travis Kelce, I could have caught that ball for a touchdown. If that wouldn't have happened and a few other plays, that game wasn't anywhere near as close as it appeared it kind of was.
Yeah.
Hats off to the Chargers. They played great. The Chiefs
you picked that. That's to say, that's not. You picked the Chargers on that one. You said potential upset alert.
Yep.
And it was.
Chiefs, I mean, they're in trouble right now. Now they have no Xavier Worthy for unknown time, right? He has a dislocated shoulder, so who knows? They're kind of being hush-hush on how long.
In the movies, they just go like, pop it back in, go back in being a superhero.
What is with it back-to-back years, the Chiefs hurting their own players?
Yeah, right.
Patrick Mahomes blew out Rashee Rice's knee last year, and now Travis Kelce freaking dislocates the shoulder of the other receiver. Interesting. But this team, basically, it's down to Hollywood Brown now, and the man who just won't go away, Juju Smith-Schuster. I mean, this guy is like a bad penny. But they're going to need him. They're going to need to lean on him. They're going to need to lean on this Andy Reid-led team. The Eagles have a couple players in the defensive backfield that are getting exploited, and that was proven true against Dallas last week, which I don't know if there's receivers that are good enough. I mean, Travis Kelce, if he's wide open, he's catching balls, but the question is, can he get open? He doesn't really move very quick anymore these days. Hollywood Brown has a potential, but I don't know if this receiving core can get open a ton, even against a young and inexperienced defensive backfield of the Eagles. Time will tell, but in this case, I like the Eagles in this one. Saquon Barkley is going to be the difference. This team, the upside, I mean, they didn't even have A.J. Brown caught one ball last week, and their offense never really got going as far as the pass goes, and yet they still won the game. Saquon Barkley, the combination, A.J. Brown is going to eat this week a lot better. This Eagle team is too good to struggle like they did last week, and they're going to recover and get it done. They're going to send the Chiefs to an 0-2 start, which does not happen to the Kansas City Chiefs very often, but it's going to happen. The Chiefs are going to start out 0-2, take the Eagles, -1, on the road to get the win. Boom.
Wrapping up Sunday, 5:20 p.m., the evening game. May not be as exciting as the Bills-Ravens, but we have the Atlanta Falcons at the Minnesota Vikings. Vikings are 3.5 point favorites at home, and of course, this features rookie quarterback battles.
Yeah, Michael Penix Jr., J.J. McCarthy. J.J. McCarthy, I thought for sure he was going to have a rough game, and he did. He started off super rough, about as rough as it gets. I mean, threw a pick six, no real stats for three quarters.
Yeah.
And which makes sense. He came off an injury last year. First game Monday Night Football at the Chicago division battle against a Bears defense that has improved. Aaron Jones, the trusty veteran, looked solid. Justin Jefferson didn't do much the whole game. I mean, he was like a fantasy desert. And then he all of a sudden started catching touchdowns, making plays, doing what he does. This coach, he's a great coach. He pulled it out of Sam Darnold. He's going to pull it out of J.J. McCarthy. J.J. McCarthy is way more talented, way more capable. And we know J.J. McCarthy, his home, where he's from, Chicago, Illinois, he comes home, pulls the upset out, and looks like the darling. Now, Atlanta on the other side. Atlanta was playing good football last week. They almost had Tampa Bay. They had them on the ropes, and they let them off. They let them off the hook, and Atlanta lost another heartbreaker, which Atlanta fans know all too well. This is a tough game. Now, here's what's up in the air. Atlanta is in a situation where Drake London's probably going to play, but he's banged up. Okay, Darnell Mooney is still questionable whether he's going to play, and he's a huge factor. They did not have him last week, but they still did fine with Ray McCloud. Kyle Pitts may actually be the fantasy player we've come to expect him to be. He looked good last week. And Bijan Robinson is a beast. The guy who is touted as the top running back in fantasy and probably the most energetic, one of the best young talent in the NFL at running back. Looked great, did not disappoint. Penix, he made some good plays as well. This is going to be a battle, and it's in Minnesota. Minnesota's 3.5-point favorites, which it's so weird because Minnesota, the way they were trending, this game wouldn't have been a 3.5-point favorite line, but they finished so strongly and decisively that now Vegas doesn't know what to think, and teams don't know what to think, and people don't know what to think of the Vikings. Which team are they? Were the Bears that bad, and they made J.J. McCarthy and the Vikings look good because of the Bears just crap in the bed? Or is this Minnesota team, did it take them a few quarters to glue and gel and evolve? We're going to find out in week 2. But in this case, I like the talents of the Falcons. I think Michael Penix Jr. is going to win in this spot. They're traveling into a tough place to play, but I'm going to take the hook, the 3.5 points on the road. I'm going to take the hook because it's possible. Could Minnesota win the game? But if they do, it might be a late field goal situation. In turn, Atlanta, you'll get the W if you take that pick. But I think Atlanta very well put them on upset alert. I think Atlanta could come into Minnesota in this spot, only a second game, and like I said, I think Atlanta is going to be a better team than Chicago when it's all said and done. So I don't think they're going to have the same issues that Chicago had in the fourth quarter. Take the Falcons, plus 3.5. They let us down last week. They're not going to do it this week. Boom.
And that brings us to Monday night being week 2. No bye weeks, not for a while. So we get a full slate of games. And that means
2 Monday night games.
2 Monday night games starting at 4 p.m. And that first game is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Houston Texans. Texans at home are 2.5-point favorites.
Tampa Bay down one Chris Godwin, but the emergence of rookie Emeka Mbuka. Say that 5 times fast. 2 touchdowns for him. So in the fantasy world, all the people that took a shot on him, looking good. Mike, I taught him too well. He scooped him from me. Buccaneers, they pulled it out last week. Baker Mayfield, he's been an exciting player last couple of years, but great. I mean, last year and obviously the start of this year, looking good. So the Texans, on the other hand, they had a rough go against the Rams last week. They're down Joe Mixon, who we don't know what his injury is at this point. We know it's a non-football, I think, ankle injury. We don't know what happened. Who knows? Maybe he fell down some stairs. Something's going on there. It's weird. But in comes Nick Chubb, the wily veteran, but he's lost a step. That's going to be a problem. Nico Collins looks good. Christian Kirk was out last week. Is he going to be back on the field this week? Still up in the air. They're missing some weapons. C.J. Stroud's not the same quarterback he was 2 years ago. And this team has a lot of work to do. They're solid on the defensive side of the ball, but that may not be enough. We're going to go with the Buccaneers on the road. Give me the points. Buccaneers plus 2.5. I think they're gonna do well this week. They're going to get it done. They had their problems against Atlanta last week, but they hung in there. I think the offense is going to be too much for this Texans team that I think is going to struggle to find offense outside of Nico Collins, and that's going to be the difference. Take the Bucs plus 2.5. Road team upset. Boom.
Let's wrap up all of football this week with the second Monday night game that at one time would have been the San Diego Chargers versus the LA Raiders, or possibly Oakland Raiders. Depends on how old you are, like me.
Right.
But it's actually the LA Chargers now at the Las Vegas Raiders. Chargers come in on the road in this divisional matchup as 3.5-point favorites. Raiders, though, pulled off the win in week 1. Brock Bowers, a little bit of a scare, but I think I asked you, say should be good to go for Monday night.
Yep.
And, okay, so Raiders looked decent in the first game.
Raiders come out on the road in the Geno Smith, Pete Carroll era, and they get a win against the Patriots. I mean, it is the Patriots. It's not exactly a marquee win, but they'll take it, right?
Hey, last time you and I went to go see the Chargers play the Raiders, the Chargers put up like 63 points on them, so...
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And the coach of the Chargers got fired after that game, too.
Yep.
So then you got Genty, who came in. He only averaged about 2.2 yards a carry. But you know what? He's a rookie, and he'll be fine.
Figure it out.
Brock Bowers was an absolute monster. He did get hurt, and he's looking good to play, though, so that's good. But he had a big game, which they definitely are going to need a lot of big games out of him if they're going to go anywhere. They need another guy to step up since Amari Cooper decided to retire after signing with the team. So, and that's where Jacoby Myers stepped up and looked like a fantasy darling. And if he could become a solid number 1 wide receiver and reliable with Brock Bowers too and Genty, might I say it, Mike? The Raiders could be in business. It's possible.
Yeah, I can't deny that.
Now on the other side of the ball, Justin Herbert, the man who they figured would be kind of more of a game manager because like he was last year, he passed for a good amount of yardage. He looked calm, cool, and collected against the Chiefs in Brazil. They got Omarion Hampton, the rookie running back, and he did not disappoint as well from, I believe, North Carolina, and definitely an outstanding player. He's someone that's going to be flashy, and he's backed up with Najee Harris, who played limited, seeing how he doesn't realize he didn't learn his lesson after the former Giant who played with fireworks and burnt his fingers off or blew his fingers off. But this team, Keenan Allen, trusty Keenan Allen.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. We saw once again another player that got destroyed by being a Chicago Bear, and now he's back playing good ball for a team and a good organization. But the key, interesting point here is welcome to the NFL, Quentin Johnson. The man, people were hoping all last year he was going to step up as a rookie, and he couldn't catch the ball. He couldn't do anything. And he was the darling in this game against the Chiefs. Honestly, before week 1 started, I would have thought, okay, Raiders is probably going to be one of those games where the Raiders are going to lose by a ton. But I think it could be more competitive. That being said, the Chargers, this Jim Harbaugh ran team, I'm telling you, this guy, all he does is win in the pros and college. And he's, I think, the glue that's going to put this Chargers team together completely and build a strong franchise moving forward, and they're going to show it against the Raiders. The Raiders are going to try hard. They're going to fight hard in this one, but 3.5 points is not enough, Vegas. You're going to take a bath in this one. Take the Chargers minus 3.5. They're going to cover that spread. It's going to be entertaining. I think that, the Raiders are going to try, but they're going to fall short, and the Raiders get the loss to go 1-1. Chargers move on to 2-0 and continue to be in first place in the division.
That's all of the Feathers picks and my slight, hopefully hilarious input, and probably not. For week 2, we will be back again this Monday. But again, as always, we ask that you make sure you're subscribed to the channel. If for no other reason, for weeks that things do happen in life that we get the video out late or possibly early, we want to make sure you're able to see it as soon as it's out because lines do move both in a positive direction and a negative direction. So we want to make sure the information is as relevant to your decision making. We'll be here again watching all of the week 2 games. And what do you expect this weekend? As crazy as last weekend? Is it going to continue?
Yeah, there's a lot of great matchups. I'm pumped up all the way through Monday. So we'll be here watching all the games on the TVs and having a good time like last week. And until next time, guys, take it to the bank. Boom.